You saw the logo, you heard the sound. It's go time. Welcome in, everybody. I am Tyler Piber, and this is Tuesday at Tufts. It is, in fact, Tufts Giving Tuesday. So it's just a wonderful event. Happens all across the world for nonprofits and other organizations. But here at Tufts, it's a very special day. I don't know exactly the number in a row that this is, but we've been doing this basically every year for the last several years. And it just has become a wonderful tradition here on campus for alums, for families, for parents, and for current students. It's really just a great time in general. So let me give you the lay of the land a little bit. Right now, we are in the campus student center itself. So we are upstairs on the second floor. Downstairs is where you walk through the door, and then below that is where everybody is basically having some food. Not quite yet 11 o'clock Eastern time, so people will be kind of funneling through in just a little bit, so I'm sure you'll hear plenty of background noise, but that's what we want. We want to show you the excitement. We want to show you really how Tufts is making a brighter world. So that's what today's show is really all about. So for the course of the next 2 hours, and yes, we've got a 2-hour show lined up for you, we are going to be showing you basically every corner of Tufts. And when I say that, I mean a lot of pre-recorded content that we've recorded over the course of this last year, telling different stories from current students, some athletes, some we'll hear from deans. We're going to have a lot of live interviews. And most importantly, we want to hear from you. That's what this day is really all about. It's about you. So we figured we'd show you kind of what's going on around campus, but we also want to show you what's happening as well when it comes to social media. So when it comes to social, we want to remind you to use the hashtag Tufts Giving Tuesday to go ahead and share your support. What are you thankful for about Tufts? What do you love at Tufts? Now that's what today is all about, kind of sharing your support for this wonderful organization. So with that in mind, we figured we'd start things off and bring up, just a couple of tweets. And this is what we're going to be doing throughout the course of the show. So the very first one, we're going to have from IGL, help spread the word about Giving Tuesday. Today, IGL board member and alum Javier Macaya, a 91 822P, and his daughter Alejandra have generously set a $10,000 challenge if we exceed 75 gifts. So let's go to Tufts women's basketball. Today is Tufts Giving Tuesday. Please consider supporting our program as we compete in the blue division against other Tufts athletic teams. And that's one of the things that's really fun about this, is that there are competitions. Teams are going head to head. We love that. We want to have some fun with this. And we'll talk about that throughout the course of the show itself. The SMFA, also, today is Giving Tuesday. Your gift of any size today helps you unlock thousands of dollars in challenge money to support financial aid, talented emerging artists, and more. They want to reach 130. So again, you'll see that as a common thread. There's a lot of different challenges from different organizations within the Tufts umbrella, if you will. So here's from Tufts GSBS. We love the folks at GSBS. You guys remember me. I see you. Tufts Giving Tuesday is becoming an important tradition at GSBS. In the spirit of giving, generous donors have issued a challenge to reach 75 gifts. They will give $28,000 to directly support students. Go ahead and click that link. And then lastly, directly from the source, this is from Tufts Giving Tuesday. Even Doty, yes, President Monaco's now famous koi fish. If you haven't seen the koi fish yet, I don't know where you are. He's in the back of every single one of President Monaco's Zoom feeds, interviews, everything he's done. You've seen him. He almost looks glowing. Awesome. Amazing. So Dottie is with us and supporting as well. We'd love to see that. But again, today is really, yes, we want to talk about, giving back to the university and the different organizations underneath the umbrella. But what we really want to do more than anything else is show you, where your support goes and some of the great things that are happening end to end on campus. So with that, we figured, why not get things started with an interview? And when it comes to, campus and campus life, who better to speak to than the TCA president and exactly what that means. So we welcome, I know I'm going to butcher your last name and I apologize ahead of time, but Jai, right? Not bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, is the TCU president here at Tufts. First and foremost, thanks for waking up and joining us here today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's a really cold day out, but
I know
we're moving.
It's one of those things. You hit November and getting into December, you're like, okay, winter's now here,
yeah.
Right? That's for sure. So tell me, you're the TCU president. You're a senior here at Tufts. What does it mean to be the TCU president? What does that encompass?
So being the TCU president, just for people who are unfamiliar with that, is kind of like being the undergraduate student body president. And what that entails is, so I meet with different administrators on a weekly, monthly basis. I meet with the president Tony Monaco. I meet with Dean Glazer, Dean Lee. I meet with the Dean of Student Affairs. I meet with Res Live, Office of Campus Live. Basically, a lot of administrators to work on different projects to better student life on campus. So it involves all of that.
You have a lot of meetings.
Yeah. I have about maybe like 5 meetings a day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what are some of the things you try to accomplish here on campus?
So a bunch of other senators also have meetings. A couple of things that other senators are working on, or I would say Senate in general is working on. So we have a menstrual products project, trying to get menstrual products in all the restrooms on campus. Some senators are working on establishing basically a needs assessment to figure out how Senate can best support the student body. Some senators are working on a sophomore prom because the current sophomores didn't get to have their own prom for high school because COVID happened. I'm currently working on laundry stipends for low-income students since that is an issue on campus. We also have the TCU textbook exchange program where students can exchange textbooks as compared to buying them, and also getting textbooks at a cheaper cost. We're also working on late night study sessions for finals. We just finished a turkey shuttle, which is basically a low-cost shuttle that helps students get to South Station and Logan Airport for Thanksgiving. So there's a bunch of different things that different centers are working on, different aspects, Res Live, dining, academics, you name it, just so many things going on.
Just trying to continuously move the ball forward, right?
Yeah.
And just keep moving it down the line, which is just so awesome to see. Tell me about your experience here at Tufts, because you've had a very interesting one, right? You know, coming from Ghana and having 4 years of very interesting times, to say the least. How do you describe your experience here at Tufts? I mean, you've obviously taken full advantage of it with you know, your position, but you know, what's your experience been like here, given the nature of obviously with the pandemic and going to complete virtual to hybrid to in person? What's that really been like?
I would say it's been interesting. Definitely, I don't regret coming here. This was one of the best decisions I ever made. Absolutely. I feel like I was meant to be here because just everything that has happened since me being accepted here has just shown that this is where I was meant to be. And just the opportunities I have been given here, like just the access I've been given to resources, I don't think I'll get that at any school. And so just, I'm actually really grateful for that. Just the opportunity to be here and just have all these access to different opportunities, people, the support I've gotten in terms of like financial aid, in terms of academic resources, in terms of networking. It's really amazing. Like, for instance, my internship I got just because I went to Tufts, because my boss is a
That's
jumbo.
awesome.
So he saw my name. He's like, oh my God, you go to Tufts? I'm like, yeah. And so now, like, he hired me. Like, I've been working since the summer. I'm working part-time now. He wants to hire me full-time. And so it's really interesting to see what Tufts can do for you.
Awesome. I love that. Tell me, you know, you just named so many different things, just like, you know, you're so many meetings. You have so many different things. Talk about what your student life is like on campus right now, because what I think is interesting, you and I actually spoke several months ago, part of another project. You'll probably see I'm in another video just coming up in a little bit. But with that in mind, you know, we kind of laughed because you said, oh, you know, not just TCA, but I'm also a part of these organizations. You know, I dance, I do a lot of different things. Talk about what's life like for you on campus outside of kind of the meetings and TCA.
I guess outside of the meetings, so I'm part of Roti and Rum, which is the only Caribbean dance group at Tufts. I would say that's like one of like my second family. I absolutely love them. We have practice 2 times a week for 2 hours. When we do have performances, we perform at different shows on campus. Pre-COVID, we used to go off campus to different schools such as Harvard, MIT. We have different, it's amazing. It's like a good group of people. I love the connections I've made. We're really there for each other, and I love it. That's one of the other things I do. my internship. I'm also a part-time influencer content creator, I would say.
Okay, explain that to me.
So I just make natural hair and makeup videos for my social media, and I get paid. I get sponsored by different brands. So I would say those two things are very much important to me and a part of who I am now. And yeah, I'm happy Tufts has a Caribbean dance group.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Tell me, over the course of the last 4 years, what's been your favorite part? If you could say there was one thing in particular, because you do so much, what's kind of the one thing that you say, I love?
I would say my major for sure. When I first came to Tufts, I was in the School of Arts and Sciences because I was on the bio track. I was like pre-med. I was like, I'm going to major in biology. But then I realized like biology was not what I wanted to do. I'm more like a math and science person, and so I went the engineering route. That's another thing. Tufts allowed me to transfer from the School of Arts and Sciences to the School of Engineering, and so I became a biomedical engineering major, and I would say I absolutely love it. I love how practical things are. I like using my hands. Like, I get to 3D print stuff. We work in different labs with different amazing professors and scientists, and it's just amazing. Just having access to those different labs. Like I work with like a PhD student my sophomore year, which is an amazing experience. I was one of the co-authors on the publication, so that was a good opportunity to enhance my resume and also just network.
Awesome. I love it. So my very last question I have for you before I let you go to your 5,000 meetings that you have to get to, I'm sure, throughout the course of the day. So my last question is what's next? So you're a senior. What do you plan to do in the future? Life after Tufts?
So I actually got accepted to Tufts Graduate School for
nice.
a master.
Double jumbo. I love it.
For a Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be staying here. I'm not leaving yet.
I love it. Well, Amma, thank you so much for taking time out to join us here at the Campus Center, have a wonderful conversation, and wish you nothing but the best of luck, because I just love your story. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Very cool. So there you go. That's kind of a glimpse into what you're going to be seeing from us today throughout the course of the day for some of our interviews. They're all happening live. No interview is going to be pre-recorded. However, we do have several pre-recorded pieces of content that we are going to show you a little bit later on. Now, to kind of reset, if you're just joining us, welcome in. I want to say thank you for doing so. It should be a lot of fun today. We've got a lot of people coming and going, sitting down, standing up, and bringing people in back and forth. But the best part about all of it is that we want to hear from you. So reminding you to use that hashtag Tuffsgiving Tuesday. And also, more than anything, we'd love to see your support for the university, of course. So one of the big things we want to make sure you know is where we are. We're in the Campus Center right now. We are upstairs. In a little bit, we are going to be heading downstairs, and we're going to show you what the tabling is going to be like. If you've been on this campus before, about 11 o'clock, 11:30, it's pretty quiet in the Campus Center. 12 o'clock hits, every person wants to eat, and this place is bustling with activity. So we're going to hope to capture some of that, especially downstairs with some of the tabling. And that tabling is going on kind of all over the campus as well, which is great. And here to talk a little bit more about engineering, you just heard Amma, a wonderful student, talk about it, but also to talk about, the arts and sciences as a whole, we welcome in Dean Glazer, someone that's no stranger to the camera and interviews with me. Good to see you, sir. How are you doing?
Great to see you as well. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank
you. Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, what's Tufts like right now on campus?
Right now on campus, after Thanksgiving, it's an intense time, right?
Yes.
Students are getting ready for the last mile in the marathon of the semester, finishing papers, getting ready for exams. So it's getting a little quieter. It is funny. In the dean's office, when everybody else gets busier, I get my schedule gets a little lighter. It's a funny thing.
That's the way that works, right?
It's an
interesting dichotomy there. Tell me about this semester, because it's been an interesting couple of years, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but what has this semester specifically been like? Kind of coming back in, I know when we were here kind of to start the year, it seemed like a little bit different type of excitement this year. Tell me what that's been like.
Yeah, well, it's certainly been a lot more open than it was last year, and I think, it's not completely liberated. It's mostly liberated, and I think the feeling that people have has just been, a lightening. I mean, it really has it has been enjoyed and savored and maybe appreciated more than it would have been prior to the pandemic, because people had been shut down
I love that.
for a period of time.
I love that. No, we've seen that too, right? You can't see it on the smiles, but you see it in the eyes, right? Everybody just seems to have, like you said, a little bit of a, easiness, right? They're at ease a bit more, I think is the way to say it. We noticed that especially in the, I love them. I think one of my favorite additions, I think I actually even heard you say this at one point in time, was when you go out into the quad area, you see all those Adirondack chairs and everybody's just relaxing and hanging out. It just seems like, okay, people are breathing a little bit easier right now, right?
No, there's no question about it. And I just think being present with other people has just been sort of enormously satisfying.
Awesome.
And those Adirondack chairs.
I had to point them out because you can't miss them, right? They're so bright and colorful. I love them.
No, and they're always full. I mean, they're not full today because it's cold.
It's freezing,
but on most days, up until like 2 weeks ago,
couple weeks ago,
they were always full.
I love it. I love to hear that. So tell me, you have I love talking with you because you have such an interesting story with Tufts, such tenure with Tufts from all, I feel like your tentacles touch a little bit of every part here at this university. Tell folks kind of your background a little bit for anybody that doesn't know and hasn't heard before. What brought you here to Tufts in particular?
Yeah, well, I got a job. I got offered a job in 1991, and and I was living in California. I had just finished my PhD, and we thought, okay, a little adventure. We'll have a little adventure in New England. We'll see what it's like.
A little one starting in 1991.
Yes, we thought 3 years maybe. Okay, and then we'll work our way back to California, which is where my wife is from and where we'd spent 10 years. And somehow that just didn't happen that way. And Tufts has been a place to grow my career. I've had so many opportunities here because of, I think, the size of the place and the community that it is. And so I've been a professor this whole time, and I continued to teach. I became chair of my department. I became the dean of undergraduate education. I became the dean of academic affairs. Now I'm dean of the school. I've had all of these roles, and I've been able to see the place from all of those different perspectives. And then my daughter and then my son attended Tufts. Both are graduates. And so I've experienced the place as a parent. I haven't experienced the place as a student, but I've experienced it from almost every other dimension.
Every other aspect.
Yeah.
What's that like, having a student here, having a few students here, right? What's that like? I mean, it's got to be a different shift in your mentality a little bit, and you can kind of see it from their eyes. How did that change your thinking?
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I thought that I sort of knew everything about the place, but until I really experienced it through my children's eyes. And they had very different experiences here. There's no one Tufts experience. There's lots of different Tufts experiences, and the students themselves craft that experience. So for my daughter, it was more of an activist experience here, and for my son, it was sort of a more individualized and less of a group experience. But they both changed here. And
really?
And they both changed in a similar kind of way. And I think they came in with a very limited horizon and sort of internally focused, and they left with an external focus, both of them. And now as I look at their lives and I look at their careers and I look at what they care about and I look at what they're going to do with their lives, they were shaped by Tufts.
That's awesome.
And that really makes me happy and proud.
I love that. It's great to hear you as Dean Glazer, the dad Glazer, right? This is a different hat that I'm hearing. I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. But it's still Tufts in general. Talked about this is some of the questions that we're asking everybody. But kind of proudest moment here at Tufts over the course of the last 30 years.
Over the last 30 years. Well,
or even if you want to say this year, you could.
I'll do one that's recent.
Okay.
But it's one that covers a long span of time. I had a conversation with an old student. She graduated maybe a dozen years ago. I think maybe 2 months ago. And she was a financial aid student. And I remember recruiting her to Tufts at a party in Los Angeles for admitted students. And I was there with Lee Coffin, who was the Dean of Admissions at the time, and I said to Lee, I want that one to come to Tufts. She's amazing.
She has to be here.
And we won her there, and we won her over some other very prestigious places, if I recall. And she came to Tufts, and she made such a difference at Tufts. She just had the it quality, like, really important person in the community. But Tufts added to her. Tufts made her better. And she started off great, and Tufts made her better. And her Tufts education has propelled her into the world. So now here we are 12 years later. And she left Tufts. She went and worked for Tufts for Teach for America in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She became the principal of the school that she was at after like 3 years. She was there for half a dozen years, and now she's in Africa. She's in Kenya. She supervises principals at about a half a dozen academies throughout Africa. And she was telling me that one of her old students from Baton Rouge is now an MD PhD student at Columbia.
No way.
So for me, it's sort of like ripples, right? Like we had an impact on her life. She had an impact on his life, and he will have an impact on many people's lives as well. And so for me, it's, it's thinking about this experience of talking to her had me thinking about time and generations, and how the impact doesn't just stop, the impact continues to roll.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect story. You talk about impact. It's in line, obviously, with everything that today is about, with Tufts Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just the impact. So, Dean Glazer, I can't say thank you enough for taking time up. I know you're insanely busy, and obviously this time of year is an interesting one. So, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Well, I really care about what we're doing. I would be very it would be problematic if I didn't mention one really important thing.
Of course.
Which is that, we really care about financial aid and access. And the university has recently received an incredible gift, a $25 million gift from the Schuler Foundation. And we now are in the process of matching that gift. And it's a complicated gift. But it's a big goal for us to match that gift and raise another $25 million, $50 million to increase the number of Pell-eligible students and DACA students on campus. And we really want to move the needle in those categories. And this gift, as it's matched, will enable us to do that. And I think about all the lives that Tufts can change as a result of that, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So I want people to know about this gift to the university and the responsibility that we have to match that gift, and I want to invite people to join us as we meet that challenge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. So, the challenge is out to you out there, obviously. You heard it here from Dean Glazer, and that's what we want is your support. That's what we're all about here today. And, wouldn't be here without you at the end of the day, right? That's what we want to make sure. So, again, Dean Glazer, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it as always.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This was great. He's Dean Glazer. I am Tyler Pyburn. We right now are going to kind of show you what Tufts Giving Tuesday is all about. So here you go. Let's take a look at that video, kicking things off for Tufts Giving Tuesday.
Hi, everyone.
We can't. We can't leverage drones to help combat forest fires, let first responders test a site for chemicals and radiation, and advance elephant conservation. We can't empower youth voices through storytelling that crosses boundaries, expands representation, and navigates multiple and diverse realities. You want to talk about elections? Well, we can't get to the bottom of public opinion and develop algorithms to stop gerrymandering and protect voters' rights. And when it comes to our student body, we definitely can't bring in the most diverse class in university history. We can't. We can't have Olympic caliber athletes and national champions still crush it in the classroom. And we can't transform food production and combat climate change by growing meat in a lab. We just can't. Without you. On Tufts Giving Tuesday, you can turn more can'ts into cans. Help Tufts make a brighter world on November 30th. Awesome. I absolutely love that. Yes, that was my voice in the background. You happen to hear it. I've heard it far too many times and would drive you crazy, but it's okay. We absolutely love the video, and we love being a part of Tufts Giving Tuesday here on campus. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you're just joining us, I'm Tyler Pybron. We're here at the Campus Center, and we're going to be doing this for the next about hour and a half, if you will. So we're doing this for about 2 hours total throughout the course of the day. We're going to show you kind of all walks of life on campus, and one of the things that's great here on campus is athletics. Obviously, the programs as a whole, they're incredibly successful. So we're joined now by basically the soccer team. We've got coach, we've got a couple players. Guys, first and foremost, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you taking time out. Tell me, Coach Kyle, tell me a little bit about what this year was like and how have things changed. I know, COVID obviously was interesting playing the last couple of years. How was it different this year? Tell me how it was.
Yeah, I think we're just coming off a really strong season. Unfortunately, ended a little bit before we wanted it to, with a loss in the Elite Eight. The Final Four is this weekend, and we all wish we were in Greensboro, North Carolina, participating. But overall, it was a wildly successful year. We won the NESCAC championship for the third time in program history, and we've got some amazing players, amazing student athletes that have allowed us to be one of the best Division III soccer programs in the country, and I think we did that again this year. And it was a unique year for sure, coming off of COVID and the year off and all of those things. We were in theory, the defending national champions from 2019, but was just really proud of the guys for, we went a whole year with having socially distanced practices and groups no larger than 10, and to accomplish what we accomplished this year was wildly impressive, just with everything that we dealt with, and just really proud of our team and our student athletes who persevered through some really tricky times, as we all have. But it was a really good year, and yeah, we wish it could have ended with a chance at the Final Four, but a NESCAC championship and an Elite Eight run is still a pretty good season.
Not a bad thing. You can still get one of those banners up. We know that,
exactly.
Which is always great. So from your side of things, I'll start here. Tell me, what was it like from your side of things to go ahead and say, we're fighting a pandemic, but I still want to play. I came here as a student athlete. I still want to play.
Yeah, so last year was definitely a very different year for everyone, especially with all of us who have been playing soccer, and I'm sure just in the general Tufts athletics community, everyone has been playing their sports nonstop since they were very young kids, and so coming into last year, there was a lot of unknown, and I think that was honestly the hardest part. Was not that we had to do socially distanced practice or had to practice less or didn't have games. That all that stuff is, we can be flexible, but I think it was just a lot with we didn't know exactly what was going on because of how predictable the virus has been, or unpredictable, excuse me. But I think it's a testament to how much our program loves playing and how much the individual guys just love playing soccer, that all of us stuck around and all of us were sort of fired up for the season more than anything, not discouraged by the year off.
Awesome. I love that. Now, I'm curious, one of the things I always love to talk about is student athletes at a school like Tufts. Obviously, Tufts is an incredibly hard school, and to go ahead and, on top of academics, to say that I'm going to play sports and athletics, and when it comes to soccer, at an insanely high level. How do you balance it all, right? I'd love to know, how do you actually do that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely been a large learning curve to definitely come from high school to college now, being able to balance training every single day 5 times a week instead of the original 3 during high school. And so I think a large part of that has to do with coming in and learning from our older guys. They've been through it for the last couple of years, and so they know the ins and outs of how to manage time in school and how to manage time in practice. So learning from them, hearing their advice, and ultimately getting help from them with schoolwork, course loads, and that sort of thing, managing how many courses you want to take in season versus out of season. And also I think having practices has been very beneficial because it makes sure to set out a time of your day that you know you have to get work done around that time. So being able to plan my day, whether it's the classes and then having my training schedule, and then figuring out those couple hours in between everything to make sure to get my homework done on time.
I don't know how you do that. That's, I mean, that's just how do you manage the players and tell them to to work? Obviously, it's academics first and then athletics, but how do you kind of walk that fine line?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, these guys are amazing, and
Yeah.
we're really fortunate as coaches to work at a university like this with such driven student athletes. Our admissions process does some of the vetting for us because to be admitted to a school like Tufts University, you have to have been an unbelievable high school student, and you've obviously shown some grit and some an ability to work and work ethic and all of these things as a high school student and throughout your childhood to even be considered for admittance into a school like Tufts. So I continue to be impressed by these guys because the reality is at our level, we want to bring in student athletes that do want to compete for Division III national championships and want to play at the highest level that they possibly can. But these guys truly are students first, and they are all here to get an education. And Woven is going for a second round of a job interview in about 45 minutes. And this is the reality at Tufts. Like we believe you can compete for NESCAC championships, you can compete for national championships, but we don't lose sight of why we're actually here.
I love that. That's perfect. Well, I'll let you guys get out of here. Last question. Talk about Tufts Giving Tuesday. What does it actually mean to be a part of it? And we'll just go around the horn. So start with you, Coach. Why is Tufts Giving Tuesday important? How does it affect the athletics program and soccer specifically?
Yeah, I mean it's massive for us. Much of what we do is fundraising driven, and one of my jobs as a coach is to try to provide the best student athlete experience that I can for these guys, and so just the philanthropy involved in that is critical to what we're able to do and the experience that we're able to provide for these guys throughout their season and throughout their careers.
And from your side of things, I know I have several friends that are Jumbo alums. The soccer team, I think it was '99. I'm old, but that's when they were here. Tell me, what does it mean to have so much support from, especially alums? They always seem to be wanting to give back, not just from their pockets and from their wallets, but also to show up at games, to be there, to support you, to watch the live streams. What does that mean to you from your side?
Yeah, I think one of the many things that this school has to offer is an incredible alumni network. And even within our team and our program, we have incredible alumni who are always, there are guys who graduated, 6-7 years ago who are still supporting, coming out to games. And so it means the world to us to be able to play in front of the people who were in our position a couple years prior. And also just in general with Tufts, I know the alumni network is extremely well connected and extremely supportive of the student body. So that's one of the things that we're very, very appreciative of, to be able to go to a school like this.
Well, love to hear your thoughts. If you echo the same sentiment, I know you have to get to an interview, so.
No worries. Yeah, no, I mean, just building off of that, I think it really just builds our confidence as a team, just knowing that we have alumni supporting us in our group chats with previous alums. Like, they'll text us before games, just giving us an extra boost of confidence that ultimately helps us get the job done. And it makes us also really proud that we're able to continue to build on the program that they have sort of built and the culture that they have built within our program. And so I think all of those combined is really just an incredible experience that we get to have, and I think Tufts Giving Tuesday is a large part of that.
Awesome. Amazing. Excellent. Well, I'll let you all go because I know you're all busy. Finals are around the corner. You've got job interviews, and it's Giving Tuesday, so we're going to have a lot of fun. So, guys, thank you so much for taking time to jump on with us here today, and good luck, obviously.
Thanks very much.
Awesome. So that is great stuff. So right now, I want to remind everybody that we are going to be having several interviews throughout the course of the day, but we're also going to have a lot of kind of behind the scenes look at what's going on across campus. One of the ways to do that is to see what a day in the life of a student would look like. Let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. So right now I'm actually on my way to the 8 o'clock shuttle to SMFA to go for my 9 a.m. painting class. It hopefully won't leave me. I am about to head over to my class. It's in the SEC Africana Study 22.
I'm up early on this Saturday morning to open up the campus center, so let's go check it out.
Hi, my name is Ama AJ. I am a current senior at Tufts studying biomedical engineering on a pre-medical track with a minor in biotechnology.
Hello everyone, my name is Gus Tringali. I'm a sophomore at Tufts University and I'm studying film and media studies.
Hi everyone, my name is Pam. I am currently a third-year student in the combined degree program at Tufts University and SMFA. So my major in the School of Arts and Sciences is computer science, and my major at SMFA is studio art.
Hi. Alright, so right now we're eating breakfast. I ate one. You already ate yours.
Since I live kind of off campus, it's on campus but off campus, I usually drive to my classes.
So Tufts does make everybody on campus take a COVID test twice a week. By doing the testing twice a week, it isn't something that is like super exhausting and super difficult to keep up with, but also makes you feel safe because you know that like the people around you are being tested thoroughly. I am taking an advanced painting class, and that is a 4-credit class. So it is 4-credit class, and it is also a 4-hour class that meets like from 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon.
This morning I have a lecture all about Alfred Hitchcock. We just recently watched this movie called Shadow of a Doubt. It's amazing.
I am currently taking 5 classes, and my favorite class so far is Sociology of Race and Ethnicity.
It does feel like a lot of things are returning back to normal. Like, I'm not stuck at home sitting at my desk 24/7. It does feel like I have some opportunity to get some fresh air and walk to and from my classes.
I'm going to Tufts Marathon team practice. I joined the Tufts Marathon team this fall, and it's a great way to meet people. It's not just undergrad students, it's grad students, it's alumni.
Roti and Rum is the only Caribbean dance group at Tufts, and I am one of the members, and it is one of the most exciting things I do on campus.
I am the concert coordinator for Tufts University Social Collective, or TUSC. Tufts University Social Collective does a lot of events around here, so there was Fall Fest yesterday, there was the Farmers Market yesterday as well, and they're all really events where Tufts University students can get together and have a good time.
All right, this is gonna be good. I was gonna be really good. Oh, I dropped it back.
Hi, so right now I am logging into my game design class that's virtual this semester. I'm also a teaching assistant for this class, so I'm just going to start taking attendance as people are joining into the call. And usually during these meetings, I try to ensure people are engaged, but also to help others if they have or run into any technical difficulties along the way.
Officially, I am a campus center manager, so that means that I turn on the lights in the morning, open up doors for people, create reservations in meeting rooms. So it's just, facilitating the campus center so everyone has a good time here.
I am the student body president. I was elected April 2021. I'm actually excited to start my term officially.
Thank you guys for coming out. Enjoy the show.
And I'm afraid to step in. I know your door's open. There's something about you and me, and I don't want to change it. Here I am hoping for the right person.
How do I feel about graduating and entering the world? It's definitely a scary feeling, but I feel like Tufts has prepared me for the real world.
I won't let you down now. I won't let you down.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
I love it. That's a look at what life is like here on the Tufts campus. It's just so cool to see. I honestly want to say thank you so much to all the students that participated in that. We basically armed everybody with video kits. They walked around campus and just had a whole heck of a lot of fun. So again, if you're just joining us right now, we're at about 45 minutes into the show so far. Time just flies when you're having a good time. So thanks for joining us. If you've been here from the start, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. One of the things we want to do today over the course of kind of these 2 hours that we're live streaming is talk about some of the numbers, what's being raised, and that's what Tufts Giving Tuesday is in fact all about. So what we want to do right now is let's go to the board. Let's see some of the numbers. What are some of the donations? Our totals are right there, just below me right here. I'm seeing it over 3,000 gifts. So cool. That is one of those things we want to see. We always take stock in is to see how many gifts, what's the participation like. So obviously that number will continue to go up as long as you are still watching and still committed to the university, which we know you are. We obviously really do appreciate it. And there, right there, is the link to give. Go ahead and visit that. We'd love your support. And if you're watching on the website itself, you can go ahead and just click the link right next to the video player itself. That's the way you can donate as well. But talking about student life, one of the things that we really wanted to kind of bring to the table here is what it's like as basically a tour guide here. So what I want to do right now is welcome in Mallory Warner. And Mallory is a tour guide here at Tufts. And Mallory, first and foremost, I know you've got a short window of time, so I'll make it quick with you.
Oh, thank you.
But thanks for taking time out. Tell me about what does it take to be a tour guide here at Tufts? Because we were talking off camera, and I know from speaking with other tour guides in the past, it's not as simple as I just sign up and I'm a tour guide, right?
No, we have a very selective tour guide program. You first go through an interview process with a few other prospective guides, with an admissions counselor and some people on admissions. Mm-hmm. Once admitted, via the interview process and application, you have a semester-long training program. So you're paired with a tour guide mentor who's been on staff for more than 2 semesters, and you are able to shadow tours. They go over their routes, their spiels, their jokes, all that kind of stuff to give you a good lay of the tour guide land.
Awesome. And why is it such a coveted position? Why is it so sought after?
Because people love Tufts, and we want to be able to share that joy and excitement with prospective students.
Awesome. Well, why do you love Tufts so much? What is it about here?
There's so many things, but I think the 2 things that I love most about Tufts are the culture of collaboration. I remember my freshman year when I came. I went to a high school and it was kind of competitive. There was, no sharing of study guides or group studies or all that kind of stuff. And so I booked a study room in Tisch Library, and I told a few kids in my class. And by the end of the night, almost everyone from class had circled through. And these weren't people that needed to know the information. They just truly wanted to help classmates. I remember sitting with someone going over this quote, and they sat with me for 2 hours, even though they totally understood it. And that's the kind of kid that comes to Tufts.
I love that. Tell me, what have tours been like the last couple of years and then this year? I know it's been an interesting time for you here at Tufts, and you're a senior now. What have the tours been like from something that's potentially been virtual or hybrid or in person? What have those been like?
So last year we were totally virtual, and we implemented a virtual tour system Zoom and other technology to walk people through campus virtually. And we have 2 tour guides on those Zooms to answer questions and give, the tour experience. And this year we've been lucky enough to get back in person. And we have reduced our tour size. So it used to be anywhere from, 20 to 30 prospective families. Now we have it about 15, 18. But we're able to really give the full tour experience this year, walking around campus. We spend about an hour with the prospective families.
Awesome. That's cool. You mentioned questions. Now, as a tour guide, you get lots of them.
Yes.
From prospective students, from family, from friends, whoever happens to be on that tour. What are some of the questions that you're getting right now? What are some of the people that what they're really interested in?
A lot of students are interested in if Tufts is competitive or the culture of collaboration, and that's something that I love to speak to with the story I just told.
Yeah.
People want to know on-campus opportunities, whether it's research or participating in clubs, and we have over hundreds, maybe thousands of clubs on campus, and so many research opportunities where professors really want to engage with their students and get them involved in researching all that's to research.
That's from parents. What do parents ask?
Parents ask anything from what's the food like at Tufts, which I am happy to say is delicious, to dorm life, to academics and school life balance.
So my last question for you is, you obviously are on the front lines. You get to see the prospective students before anybody else. What's the crop look like? We got a good group coming into the scene?
Great group of folks coming through Tufts. I'm very excited about the coming years and the students we recruit here. It's really fantastic.
Wonderful. Mallory, honestly, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you have to run, so I appreciate you taking time out. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure. Thanks so
Excellent
much.
stuff. Awesome. You can just drop that right there. So there you go. We're hearing from some of the wonderful stories here on campus, and we want to hear some more. So you just heard a couple of minutes ago, prior to Mallory joining us, we talked to the soccer team, and that's what we want to show is what it's like to be a student athlete here at campus. Now, it's obviously great to hear in an interview, but why not show you behind the scenes more than anything else? So let's go ahead and roll that clip all about athletics.
We're really excited to have parents back on campus again and being able to attend the events. We know that it was so hard and so challenging last year to be able, to have to watch the games from afar when we were competing in the spring, and now they can come and they can attend in person. They can be here to support their student athletes and support Tufts, and it's so great to see them all again.
Everything is going great this semester. It is so nice to have a return to some sense of normalcy. We've got our club sports going again. We have our PE courses going, and our varsity sports are all practicing, competing. They're in the weight room, and all their seasons are off to a great start. So it's a really exciting start to a new year after last year.
As the captain of the basketball team, I've had a really great experience of getting to play, compete for championships, go to the NCAA tournament, and going into my final year as a senior, and I have very high expectations.
I love being with all of my teammates. I love showing up to the gym, and when I get there, there are a bunch of other people working hard already, and I love that sense of community that is built through all of that shared work that we do together.
My favorite part of being on a team is getting to be around amazing and driven people and having the structure of an athletic schedule.
Being an athlete, you take pride in being part of this athletics community, because I'm proud to be part of my softball team, but I'm also proud to say that I go to Tufts and excited to cheer on other teammates and fellow Jumbos as well.
this year to see the joy of competition return across all our sports. Pure joy of competition, something they may have taken for granted a little bit last year. Now you can just see it written all over their faces when they get to go out and compete with their friends and teammates.
Jumbo Pride, I would say, is me having pride in all the students around me, whether they're an athlete or whether they're a non-athlete. We're all part of this community, and we're Jumbos.
Just a little insight to what it's like as a student athlete. And you don't just have to be playing in kind of a traditional varsity sport here at Tufts. You could obviously be part of a club team as well. So right now, that's where we want to shift the conversation. We have Christoph and Cynthia from the rock climbing team. So, or club, I should say, I apologize. Tell me, how the heck did you get involved with rock climbing? I'll start with you, Christoph.
Yeah, I started my senior year of high school. I had never really done it before, but picked it up as a fun hobby. And so when I came into college, I kind of decided to look to see if there was a club around here. And within weeks of joining, I kind of knew, okay, socially and physically, this is all I want to be doing right now. And it just kind of kept going from there.
I love that. How about you, Cynthia?
So I was also a senior in high school. My best friend, Louisa, she's actually went to Tufts with me and is also on the climbing team still. She has been climbing since 7th grade, so one day she said, "Hey Cynthia, do you want to come to the rock gym with me?" And I said yes, and here I am almost 4 years later.
I love that. That's so cool. How great was it to hear that Tufts had a club, or did you start it? Give me a little background on it. Start with you, Cynthia.
So the club existed before I got here,
Awesome.
and it was great. It was one of the things that I was researching when looking for colleges. I was interested in a school with a climbing team, and Tufts is very well ranked. Believe we're 3rd in the nation.
No way, really?
So I loved it, and I loved scrolling through the Instagram and seeing the community. So it was great to see.
Awesome. That's so. Explain to me how it works, because I don't know how competitive rock climbing works. To be totally honest with you, so when you're ranked 3rd in the nation, how do you get that ranking, or how are you competing?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the competitive side, there's a couple different styles of competition. The two main ones are our two main disciplines, so bouldering and top roping or lead climbing, any kind of sport climbing, depending on the competition. So bouldering is no ropes. You're basically just climbing a 15-foot section of wall. That competition starts out, basically like a big group of people will get 50 of these kind of climbs to try to do, and your 5 hardest climbs are going to count towards your final score. And you go through a few of those competitions until finally the field is narrowed down to a point where there's, let's say, 5 boulders on any given night, and every competitor gets a certain amount of time to do it. With any of the sport climbing stuff, you're tied in, and it's really just about how high up you can get on a specific route. Especially later on, it's really just about literally which hold you can get to before falling.
This just how awesome is this to watch? I mean, not even just to participate in it. That part's going to be amazing. But just, do you have folks coming down to be able to watch, and where does this actually take place? For folks that would love to see this, how could they actually watch this?
Yeah, so we have some people coming out to watch. It's at different rock gyms throughout the New England area and the Northeast, mostly in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. But actually recently was climbing's first year as an Olympic sport. Mm-hmm. And so there were definitely a lot of viewing parties, and it's incredible to see those athletes compete.
Now, so on a more sentimental side of things, how great is it to have something like this and all the other club sports out there available to you here at Tufts? Because sometimes that gets a little bit lost. They say, it's a club sport. but the fact that you have access to this is amazing. I loved that in college myself. What does it mean to you to be able to have this available? And you mentioned, Cynthia, that was one of the reasons why you came here, right? Talk to that a little bit.
So I personally find it incredible, especially I think there's a lot of draw to it as a club sport because it really allows you to be kind of really focused. I find it helps me focus on my studies, and it's not as much of a commitment as if I were a full-time student athlete. I can go to the gym a few times a week with my team and build community that way and also work out. But the access is really amazing. I know that for me, back in high school when I started climbing, the gym was about a 45-minute drive away, and I couldn't drive in high school, so it meant that I could only go when my friends were available. And now with the Tufts, it being a club sport, we have vans, we have access, and it's incredible.
That's awesome. Do you share a similar sentiment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, Tufts, like climbing is not something that can fit so well into the traditional varsity sport kind of like setup in general. The muscles and everything require different healing periods, and it's pretty specific. So being a club sport, one, allows us to continue doing this all year round, whereas most club sports only get a season.
Yep.
And two, it gives us a lot more flexibility. So you don't have to dedicate your entire life to it. This is something that you can dedicate your life to, but also if you want to get into the gym once a week, you absolutely can do that, and this climbing team is the way to do that.
Awesome, I love that. So kind of my last question, obviously today's show is all about Giving Tuesday, so to talk about the support and how great it is to have support and folks, because that's the one thing that's wonderful about this is people wanted to say, I want to help support the Rock Climbing Club, right? They can go ahead and do so. Just the importance of some of that funding that helps it exist, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Climbing is an expensive sport. There's no way around it. It's really unfortunate. And so it really hurts us to see that there's this huge barrier of entry, because I know a ton of people who would enjoy climbing but cannot even get to the gym because of the price. Our lovely board member, Veronica, a couple of years back, she started a financial aid program, essentially all on her own. This is something that she's been working on for years now. And Giving Tuesday, this is our biggest chance so far to make this happen. We have an opportunity today to cover 100% of our financial aid for next year. That is beyond anything that I could have imagined. Being able to say one full year in advance, we have funding for you. You worry about the sport, not about the cost. That's something that we've been fighting for this entire year, almost more than anything else we've been doing. And it really, really would mean the world if anybody would like to help with that. Any amount of money really does help to get us to our goal.
Awesome. That's amazing. You're like the perfect salesperson, too. This is wonderful. So we'll let you kind of echo his sentiment, if kind of your thoughts on that as well.
I mean, I think that Christoph did a really good job at voicing that. But yeah, I think that we've really been working on financial aid recently. I know we had a POC climb night, which was really helpful, and we got, I think, pretty much everyone there was going to the gym for the first time, and that was amazing because we were able to use a grant that we had gotten earlier to get everyone to climb for free, which was really helpful. And that's kind of our goal, is that that's not just a one-night thing, that we can offer that throughout the year and have everyone able to go and climb and hit the walls.
Hit the walls. I love that term. That's amazing. You guys are great. Christoph, Cynthia, thank you so much for coming up here and joining us today. You guys are awesome. I love it. This is great.
Thank you so much,
so
Robert.
again, you heard it from them, directly from their mouths in particular, exactly how things work here on Tufts Giving Tuesday. Clubs and programs and organizations under the Tufts umbrella, you can help out, and we would love your support at the end of the day. No question, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So as I mentioned, one of the things that we wanted to do is kind of show you stories from all across campus and the different campuses out there. Next one up, we want to hear from the folks at Tisch.
I look at our country right now and I think about the last year and a half. How much this country has been challenged, how much has been revealed about us, to us. We are a country that in the next 30 years at most will be completely multiracial. And we have to learn how to govern ourselves through crises like global pandemics and climate risk and growing inequality and racial divides. So we've got to figure this out. And we don't have a lot of time. And thank God there is a place in this country that is committed to understanding what do we need to know to strengthen democracy. I was born in the Bronx, and my whole family is from the Bronx, both sides. We had a very close-knit family and spent a lot of time together. Then I moved to Westchester, and Westchester was a very different kind of community, but also a place of a lot of community involvement and civic activism. My parents had decided that even though they were the first generation of African Americans to really achieve middle-class status, they decided they weren't going to talk to me about racism at all because they didn't want me, as my dad always said, to grow up with a chip on their shoulders. So they didn't talk to me about what the world was like. But I grew up in a Jewish community, and all of my friends' parents talked to me about what the world was like. So I really learned about racism and exclusion from my Jewish friends' parents. When I was in college, I had decided I was going to be a doctor because I wanted to take care of people. In college, though, I became much more aware of oppression. I suddenly felt for myself that it wasn't enough to care for individual people. So that got me thinking about, well, how do you affect change on a larger scale? The thing that interested me and attracted me most to Tisch was that it is the only higher education institution in the country that is committed to studying, to capacitating, to teaching about civic life. I've spent my whole life focused on how to strengthen civic life. I'm African American, and I have seen personally up close through my family's history, all of the failures of democratic institutions. So I actually know that it is a very frail, but also very precious organism, democracy is. What are the forms of knowledge that will help us transform our governing, our civic institutions? And then what are the practices? What are the skills that young people, and for that matter, all members of the polity need to be able to rebuild our ailing, fragile democracy? That, I think, really is the task for Tisch at this moment.
Perfect. And we are good to go. All right, welcome back, everybody. I am Tyler Pyburn here at Tufts University for Tufts Giving Tuesday. And again, we wanted to kind of showcase stories from all across campus, some of the different organizations, some of the different student groups. You name it, we've got it basically on today's show, which is just absolutely fantastic. But we're shifting gears again. Another wonderful interview. We're joined right now by Dean Lee of Engineering. So, Dean Lee, first and foremost, thanks for taking time out of the day to jump on with us. Appreciate it. Excellent. So, tell me, this is your first year as Dean. You've been at the school for about 20 years now. How's it gone?
It's been exciting. It's been great. It's been great to get all the support from people. Not that I'm surprised, because that's one of the things I love most about the institution, Tufts, is just how caring and kind and supportive everyone is. So I have to say, sure, we could have taken over the school's leadership under non-pandemic conditions. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
But
changes things a little bit for you,
absolutely.
Right?
But given everything, I could not ask for better support and better from the community. It's been fantastic.
I love that. Tell me, you mentioned you've been here for about 20 years, right, previously. Yeah. So what's kept you here? Why have you stayed here? Because that's not always the case in higher ed. Some folks will kind of move from place to place. What's kept you here at Tufts?
Great question. So I think when we envision a career, I think ideally you want to be at a place where it kind of really has to sing to you and speak to you. And I was coming out of grad school. I was looking at different places for me to be an academic professor. I was looking for a place where I could teach, mentor students, and research, and do all three to an excellent level to the best of my abilities. We're in an institution where all are equally valued. And there aren't such many places, in my opinion, where I think we have equal value for scholarship and teaching, and not just use that as a byline. This is something that university has committed itself to. It's a core value. And when we say we are student-centered research university, I think Tufts really just practices it. So that's I love that about Tufts. I think it's a unique place in that it offers that to both the faculty and the students and staff. So it's a lovely place to work at.
Love to hear that. Tell me, this year, the last couple of years have been interesting. Obviously, we alluded to the pandemic earlier, and there's no stranger. It's all around us, everywhere you look, everywhere you turn. But this year in particular, things have kind of changed, and it's evolved over the course of the last couple of years. And the fact that I'm even saying a couple of years now is just wild, honestly.
Yeah.
But what is your kind of proudest moment so far this year, this semester, as we've kind of heading into a close of this first semester as dean for you? What's been kind of your proudest moment this year?
So, if I may, I'm going to take us back to actually last year.
Okay.
I've been incredibly proud of our community response to the difficult things all around us. And part of the response that I think made Tufts so successful in keeping us relatively safe is that I think everyone took it as a responsibility towards the community. It's not about just keeping yourself healthy, it's about keeping the entire community healthy. I've been incredibly proud of our students, and as a result of, I think, our practices under President Monica's leadership, we've been able to come back. Obviously not normal, we're all wearing masks. But we still have in-person classroom instruction. Students are back on campus for the most part. Faculty are back, staff are back. So just to be able to be on campus, interact with students in the classroom. I'm still teaching a class this semester on heat and mass transfer. That energy you're going to get in the classroom, conference room, having discussions, being in the lab with students, you just can't replicate that over Zoom or any other video conferencing format.
Whatever it may be, right?
Whatever it may be. And I think that's the energy you're going to get back. Usually people think, well, you talk for a couple hours, you must be tired. It's actually the other way around. And when I come out of a classroom, I'm probably more energized than I'm going into the classroom, just because you can sort of feel off the energy. And I hope that my students feel the same way. But I think that's the way the community came together, to respectful of each other's health. It makes me really proud of part of this community.
Amazing. We talk about that's obviously what we're proud of in the past. Let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
Well, what are you excited about? What with the future? Any specific projects, initiatives that kind of you're leading the charge with?
Well, I'm happy to report that we've lifted the construction of the Cummings Center. So if those of you who've been on campus or on campus for the last several years, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you probably cannot miss it. We have a massive
you pull onto campus, you see it, right? I know we'll have some B-roll of that to show too.
It's incredibly visible, but I'm very excited that building's open. We have departments from engineering moving in. We have computer science moving in. We have the Tufts Gordon Institute moving in, and some institutes and centers also are on data science. They'll be collaborating with the math department, the economics department, folks from Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy to really collaborate on subject matters that cross disciplinary boundaries. And I think it's an exciting new space. If you ever have a chance to walk in, it's open now.
It's so pretty too. I'm sorry, when you see it, it's gorgeous.
Absolutely. And it's open. That's kind of the message. You walk in, the building's sort of layout is conducive towards collaboration. It's got artwork that's going to feature members from our own community. We have a School Museum of Fine Arts. I believe it makes sense for us to engage alumni, artists from our own community to beautify the building, and also send messages that this is open space, welcome to everyone. So it's an exciting new prospect. I'm also told that we're going to have a T-stop. That project will be completed soon, sometime this spring. I can't give you the date just yet, but
we will see it.
It's going to be a really new hub of activity for the campus.
I love it.
It
really is. That's a great way to frame it. It really is. It seems like it's another hub, and it's not even just another building, but it's a full kind of extension, another arm of the campus, which is just amazing to see. So my last question before I let you go, because I know you're obviously incredibly busy today, tell me, Tufts Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
Why is it important to you and to the program and to the school as a whole?
So the things I've said we've been doing, providing new spaces, being inclusive, welcoming, and collaborating, all those things take resources. And without the generous support of alumni, students, faculty, staff, our entire community, donors, we won't be able to do any of this, or at least not to the extent we want to. Just to give you a quick example, there's something called the Dean's Discretionary Fund. So generous people have given money to the Dean's discretion, trusting us that we can deploy the resources to promote the school's vision and mission. So, for example, we see that there's incredible demand for first-year engineering courses called EN1s. There are a bunch of different ones. They're topical. They're not meant to be engineering for the sake of engineering. It's engineering to illustrate what kind of impact it can have in society. So, for example, topic near to my heart, because I love coffee. We have something on coffee engineering, and we needed more seats because there was some demand for it. So I was able to put the discretionary fund to use. Hey, sure, we'll have additional resources for the class to meet the students' demand and open the doors to a wider audience. So without the support from folks on Giving Tuesday, we wouldn't be able to do all the things we want to do. So this is incredibly important.
Excellent. I love it. So you heard it. It's incredibly important. Help us out. There's no question about it, Dean Lee. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking time out.
Pleasure.
So again, we can't do this without your support, and really that's what today is in fact all about. And not only do we, would love your support, but we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to for you to join the conversation. Use the hashtag Tufts Giving Tuesday, and jump on a part of the conversation. We started the show today by showing some of the tweets and some of the posts that all of you have been sharing basically all day long. So keep that going. We'd love to kind of showcase that as we go along. But we're going to continue to move on, and again to show some of the wonderful programs that are taking place here at Tufts University, especially at the med school. Obviously no stranger to kind of raising the bar and pushing everything forward in basically all walks of life, especially when it comes to the mother lab and maternal medicine. So we want to take a look at that. We had a wonderful interview back in the spring with Nadidi as part of the mother lab. So let's take a look.
The Mother Lab was a 35 student member lab, and I started it in July 2020 in the height of the pandemic. And Mother stands for Maternal Outcomes for Translational Health Equity Research. And it's an interdisciplinary lab. We have students from social work, nursing, public health, medicine, anthropology, psychology. And the focus of the lab is addressing maternal health disparities in Black women. The majority of lab members are undergrads. About half of the lab identifies as undergrads. We have students that are doing their masters. We have nursing students. We have students that are in doctoral programs, medical school, and then we have a couple students who are either already have a PhD or who are already medical doctors. Students in my lab are training to be maternal health scholar activists. That's one of our premises, and that's one of our really guiding statements, is that when you come out of the Mother Lab, you're going to go on and do great things in the world of maternal health disparities as it pertains to either one, focusing on policy, or two, clinical care as it pertains to better delivery for patients along the lifespan. The work of the Mother Lab is so important right now for a number of reasons. We as a country are really failing mothers with a particular focus on Black and brown mothers in pregnancy and postpartum. And what I mean by that is that Black women are 243% more likely to die than their white counterparts in pregnancy and delivery. Additionally, 63% of maternal deaths are preventable. That's the majority of women that are dying needlessly. We know the things that are complicating pregnancy and labor and delivery, right? Maternal hemorrhage, maternal hypertension, and then racism that women experience in the healthcare system. And so my goal with the Mother Lab is to create a group of scholar activists that can go into their respective fields and make a difference and ultimately save the lives of women in pregnancy and delivery. So Tufts is an amazing place because we are in the hub of activity. Tufts really is leading the way in becoming an anti-racist institution. So when you're directing a lab that has a focus on anti-racism at an institution that supports that work, then the work is going to be easier to move forward. I have partners at the medical center side. I have partners in my department. I have the support of the leadership to really move this work forward. And so I think for me, just the ability to move this work forward with the support of the administration, with the support of my brilliant and ambitious students, and that really just gives me the support that I need to move the work forward in a collective environment where people understand the urgency of addressing this. This is not an uphill battle. People are supportive of the work, and it's in alignment with our overall goal of becoming an anti-racist institution. I'm training, mentoring, supporting, nurturing, guiding 35 students. And without resources, they're going to go get part-time jobs. And so that's going to diminish, one, the capacity that we have to do the great work that we've been doing. And two, that's going to create instability in my lab because people's positions are going to need to be refilled, et cetera. Right now, we have a really good thing going. But the reality of it is these students are going into summertime. They're going into spaces where they need pocket money. And so I think for me, the ability to, one, provide stipends at the semester level for students really creates a sense of stability and peace of mind for them. They can focus on what we're doing in the lab. They can attend our meetings. This is a huge time commitment. We meet every other week as a lab. So that's 35 students twice a month, and then they have standing committee meetings every week. That doesn't even take into account the emails, the research, the things they're doing offline. So I need to be able to compensate them for their time and for them to be feeling acknowledged and valued, right? Like, I know people are doing it for the love, but they have obligations as well financially. So I think resources is important. And so my legacy would be to be the founding director of a center on Black maternal health that could be a resource from the policy, research, and community engaged perspective, but also serve as a training ground for students and provide resources to the local community. That would be an amazing legacy for me.
I could honestly listen to Nadidi's story all day, every day. She is fantastic. Again, we had the opportunity to interview her in the spring as a part of the Tufts Medical School reunion. Now, since then, things have advanced even more, and we're actually excited to be talking to and interviewing her again in just a couple of months. It should be fantastic, as always, because she's just, a bundle of energy and just so well-spoken and so thoughtful with everything that she's working on, which is just amazing. I love to see it. So again, welcome in. If you're just joining us, I'm Tyler Pyburn. We're here at the Student Center, the Campus Center here at the Medford campus. And I've been hearing definitely behind us, more kids are coming in. I'm looking at the clock. It's 12 o'clock, which makes sense. Lunchtime here on campus. So we're going to be, seeing some more things taking place downstairs as part of tabling. And we hope to show you that in just a little bit. Now, one of the things we also want to do is kind of give you an update of where we stand. How are donations going? How are things kind of taking place here on campus and just online as a whole? So with that, let's go ahead and let's bring up some of those numbers and see how we're going. So we're at about 3,300 gifts. We've just crossed the $2 million mark, which is outstanding to see. Let's keep that going. I love it. Obviously, use that hashtag Tufts Giving Tuesday, but also make sure you use that link. If you're watching on the webpage itself right now, you're there. You know where to click. It's directly next to the video player. If you're on Facebook, just go and navigate to this link right here, and it's Giving Tuesday 21. Obviously, it's go.tufts.edu/Giving Tuesday 21. That's where we want you to head, and we'd love your support. Now, obviously, there's so many initiatives, and we've only covered just a small portion, which is amazing because I feel like we've talked to so many people so far. However, we have a lot more great stories to tell for the course of the next 45 minutes or so. We might go a little bit long because I'm having too much fun. So with that in mind, I want to shift gears. I want to talk to the Elise Lamont with the Division of Student Diversity and Inclusion. Elise, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking time.
Anytime.
So tell me about your role. What is it that you do as a part of the Student Diversity and Inclusion?
So we have a division for Student Diversity and Inclusion that supports the 6 identity centers that are on campus here. So the Africana Center, the Latinx Center, the LGBT Center, Women's Center, First Resource Center, who am I missing? Asian American Center, and the Center for STEM Diversity has also joined in this division now, and we are also working towards bringing on an Indigenous People Center. So we're working on that process now. That'll be the first time that Tufts has ever had a center focused on Indigenous people and population. So very excited about that initiative. So we basically are a division that will together and independently support students to make sure that they have a sense of belonging on campus, that they believe that Tufts campus is their campus for them to thrive on, whether it be socially, emotionally, and academically.
How, I hate to say, it obviously goes without saying just how important this is, but the fact that it kind of comes together on one umbrella to be able to support those different groups. I know we've had the opportunity to talk with some of the folks at the Asian American Center and the First Center, which are just, you step inside some of their buildings and it's amazing to hear some of their stories.
Yes, agreed.
But talk to me about the importance of it, of kind of having it all together and to help every single one of these students to make it feel like it is in fact their campus.
Well, I think some of the students who might be a part of the Africana Center are also a part of the Latinx Center. So and vice versa. There can be cross-pollination everywhere, and we want to make sure that students are getting support in a more collaborative way as well as the independent way. And we think that we can do more things and better things in number, collaboratively. This past fall, I'm not sure of the month because I had not come on board yet in this role, but the centers got together under that DSDI umbrella and had the first ever block party.
Oh, cool.
And again, students were excited about, okay, here's some cross-pollination. We can all get together and, I might not be Asian American, but I have an affinity to the Asian American Center. So I now can feel safe going there, et cetera. Because we want people to know that it doesn't matter if you look like you belong to that.
It's not siloed.
It's not
right.
It's
not siloed, and
right,
I love
exactly.
that.
And
I've heard
that's
you.
what I really want to say. It's not siloed.
Yep.
We want people, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter your walk of life. If you feel comfortable in one of the centers or up under the DSDI umbrella, we want you to come so we can support you, because we ultimately want students to feel comfortable here at Tufts campus, and we also want them to academically succeed so they can go off and do the next journey.
Excellent. Tell me, what has the response been from the students? Now, obviously, these are things that, as administrators and deans and different groups, we say, okay, we think this, we want this to work. What's been the response from the student side of things?
I think the students were very excited about the block party, and they would love to see more activities that were commingled that way. So as we really start to intentionally think about the division and how we want to work to move forward, we're going to think about more activities like that. We're having our first retreat in January to get everybody together. So the Center for STEM Diversity was under the umbrella of the School of Engineering for many, many years, since its existence. And now it's going to be moved into DSDI such that we can intentionally support students in SOE, which is School of Engineering, and ANS, the School of Arts and Sciences, and then figure out how we can bring that academic focus to the other centers as well, and just figure out how we can, again, collaborate to making sure that we are taking care of the whole student.
One of the terms that I've heard you use a couple of times now is cross-pollinate, and I love that because it just sums it up so perfectly. Tell me, what does the future hold? Where do you hope to take it, kind of in your role? What do you want to happen next? What are you kind of guiding the ship towards?
Well, again, I want us as a division to make sure that we have a clear and crisp vision, mission, and goal statement. And that's what we're going to be working on at the retreat. And then how do we operationalize those words? So that's really our first step. I know they started doing that prior to COVID, but then COVID hit and things kind of stopped for a little while. But now we want to go, okay, what is our vision, mission, and goal statement? What do we want to accomplish for the students so that we can now then go and operationalize that? And also want to make sure that students, faculty, and staff know that the division is here to support those student populations, through the Center for STEM Diversity and other centers. We're also here to support faculty so they can better support our students, et cetera. So we want people on campus, no matter where you sit on campus, administration, students, staff, faculty, et cetera, to know that the division is there to support whoever needs the support so that we can ultimately all support our students.
And it goes full circle.
Exactly.
It just continuously does that.
And I always joke, when people say, what do you want? I say, I want world domination. and what I mean by that is I want us to be able to support as many students that need it and as many students that we can support on Tufts campus. And I want us to help to transform Tufts campus into that anti-racist institution that we want to move towards. So I want the division to be a part of that conversation and a part of that action and that movement.
That's amazing. I love it. I could hang out with you all day. So last question I have for you is just obviously things like the block party, things like the retreats, and working on this. It's not free. It's not cheap.
Right.
Talk about the importance of something like Tufts Giving Tuesday on a program in this initiative itself.
Well, this year there were more students who were of diverse backgrounds brought into Tufts than ever. And that is awesome. And because of that, more support is needed sometimes. And the support takes resources and funding. And so things like Giving Tuesday are just so important because as we obtain more funds, we can then get to world domination, which is being able to support more students. And that's really what I would love to do. So people are giving to our DSDI commitment. I'm very excited about that. Please keep it coming, everybody. Please keep it coming. Because the more that we get support through funding and resources, we can then support more students. So this Giving Tuesday event is very, very important to our success, which means that we will be able to give success to more students.
I love it. Elise, thank you so much for taking time out and
No, you're very welcome.
This. Really appreciate it. Excellent. So you heard it. World domination. That is, in fact, what we are shooting for today. And obviously, there are so many different groups out there that you can go ahead and help support here on campus. And what we want to do is kind of bring up some of the different challenges. There are 80+ challenges that you can go ahead and be a part of. So you see school-based, you see department and program-based, you see affinity cause-based, university-wide. There are so many different challenges on here that you can go ahead and support. support. Basically, your money goes where you want it to go. So if you want to support diversity, equity, and inclusion, you can go ahead and do so. If you want to support medicine, if you want to support wildlife clinic, whatever it may be, your money can go to that. And there's, like I said, a lot of challenges associated with that. So there are all sorts of wonderful things happening here on campus that you can go ahead and support, and really cool stories and things that are kind of advancing technology and advancing pretty much every single aspect of the world here at Tufts University. So one thing in particular that we wanted to go ahead and show you was, well, just one video in particular that might just blow your mind about growing meat in a lab. Yes, let's go ahead and take a look.
With anything in research, students are the catalysts, right? And if you have students that are smart, motivated, and totally excited and committed to this, there's nothing better. I'm very fortunate to be able to attract really high quality students that are also extremely passionate about making a difference in this field. The future of food is alternatives to current livestock, and that includes using cells that come from livestock and other sources to grow food in a laboratory like we do right now, eventually in factories. The potential benefits in terms of nutrition, food safety, quality could be far superior as we make progress. Driving the process requires resources. You know, it's very expensive to do all the cell work, grow the tissues, and so on. We struggle to raise funding right now from traditional grant sources because the agencies are not prepared for this. Tufts is the perfect place for this. If you look at the expertise around campus, we've got all the right pieces, so you need this confluence of expertise to make progress, and that's what we're trying to do. We're at an amazing spot in research in this field. We're at just the right institution to make this happen. We want to continue to grow this program, ultimately to make a huge impact in the future of feeding the world.
I mean, to be completely honest with you, we sat down with David and we sat down with the group there, and they were just honestly amazing to see some of the wonderful things that they are doing. And it's just incredible just how bright some of these students really are, and some of the work that they are putting together on a day-to-day basis is just so cool to see and to be a fly on the wall. I remember our entire group that was in there filming at that point in time was just kind of blown away. It really was. So obviously food is one of those things that we talk about here on campus quite often. Obviously we're here in the place where pretty much everybody is coming to get food. I can hear them downstairs behind me right now as I kind of look around. We've got a few people that are doing a little studying, but it's lunchtime. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to head downstairs in just a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to give you an idea and a look at what's taking place on campus, especially at the tabling part downstairs, and we'll give you a little update on that. But before we do that, speaking of food, we want to go ahead and show you what's taking place with the Friedman School, specifically at a farm up on the North Shore. So let's go ahead and let's take a look.
New Entry is first and foremost a beginning farmer training program, so our goal really is to develop the next generation of farmers to steward our landscapes and to produce locally grown healthy food for our communities. We're here at Moraine Farm in Beverly, Massachusetts. This is our headquarters and our central kind of farm training and education center. New Entry is a program of the Tufts Friedman School of Nutrition, Science and Policy. Tufts University's mission really is teaching, research, and public impact. And so New Entry is a little bit of all of that, but mostly we're a public impact, public-facing program. We are doing real on-the-ground work, both educating undergraduates and graduate students at Tufts, but also educating, the broader community.
Every year we get a ton of amazing interns, both during the school year and over the summer. We get fellows and interns, so they really are, in a large part, the backbone of some of the work that gets done here.
They're getting exposure to careers in the food system and the kind of dynamic work that we do, building that infrastructure of support for farmers and local food. We do a lot of courses and workshops to help get people excited about farming, help them understand the opportunities to engage in commercial agriculture and to learn crop production skills. Our kind of flagship program is our farm business planning course. So we want people to enter agriculture as a business with the skills to succeed commercially and to grow food for the community.
I did the crop plan and the business plan course. The course was amazing, and 8 weeks, and they give you all the tools to create a business plan. It's an amazing project for immigrant like me.
And so we have an incubator farm program. Once people complete the business planning course, they can lease land from the incubator farm for up to 3 years to start and launch their business. We're here to provide the land, the tools, the infrastructure, the support, the technical assistance, the market development piece of it, and everything they need to start up right away and build their business, and then hopefully launch off the incubator onto their own farm.
It's like a starter pack. You know, you pay the fee up front and then you basically get access to everything you need.
They give you like all the necessary tools to succeed. They help you, they are mentoring, they give you the opportunity.
If you're going out in the world, it's really difficult to get access to land and technology, capital. We kind of break down some of those barriers by bringing folks in.
We give people the opportunity to try it out without having to go invest a significant amount of capital.
It's really nice having this community here of, 13 folks plus us that are always just swapping ideas and being able to keep a community of people who can lean on each other.
There's just a lot of collaboration and community that happens in a setting like this where you're not just farming by yourself, you're all learning together. It's just a unique learning environment beyond just what the program offers, but what each other offers is. And farmers love learning from other farmers.
The Food Hub is a big warehouse. It's where we aggregate all the produce from all of the different farmers we work with.
So we here at New Entry, our Food Hub, we think about it as an extension of our training and education programs. So we're kind of the hub. We have all these little farmers. We can help aggregate their product together in the hub and then send it back out for distribution.
The purpose of it is to help beginning farmers with that aggregation and distribution so that they can focus on getting their growing techniques down, and all they need to do is bring the produce to us and we pack it away, distribute it, take care of all the other details. We take stuff out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to CSA customers, wholesale customers like public schools, and then we also have food access partnerships.
A lot of times people don't really understand how nuanced and complicated the food system is. So we really give both our farmers an exposure to that complication and where they need to step up. And same thing for students, finding a career path in this work and having the exposure to what we do at New Entry. I think it makes people more aware of how complex it is and how interrelated things are, and it really gives them a lot of opportunity to think about change making. We're building both farmer leaders but also future food systems leaders through our work.
One of the reasons I think why it's good to have more capable farmers is climate change. Right now we get a lot of food from California and the Midwest, but every summer the state is on fire, and is it really realistic in 10, 20, 30 years to think that the farm system there isn't going to be affected by those changes? I don't really think so.
Less than 2% of people are farming and growing food. I mean, that's pretty scary when you think about the fact that we eat food 3 times a day. My hope, for the future is that we have so many more people who both see farming as a career opportunity, but that also have the skills and the institutional support for agriculture. Our job really is to help catch those people that are excited about farming and educate about the importance of local and regional food for long-term food security, for climate resilience, and continue to build those local community-based food systems.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Tyler Pyburn here at Tufts University, and we're at the campus center. Obviously, it's a little after 12, so guess what? It's picking up. Things are getting a little bit busier. People are coming for lunch. I myself am getting a little hungry because I'm starting to smell everything as well, which is always fun to see. But again, if you're just joining us, we just say thank you so much for your support and taking time out of your day to jump on the show with us. It is Tufts Giving Tuesday at Tufts. We're basically showing you all the wonderful things that are happening here on campus. And today, one of the things in particular, you see right here from Jumbo, that's right. Tabling, having some fun. We've got everybody behind us as well. And we're basically just having conversations with folks. So with that in mind, one of the people I wanted to bring in to have the conversation with is someone that's part of the annual giving team. We welcome in Audrey Leland. Audrey, I'll have you slide in right here. I know we've worked together on this for a couple of years now. How exciting is it to have all the work kind of up front come to fruition today?
It is so exciting. So in my role at Tufts, I oversee student giving, and it's really awesome to see all of the students coming together, fundraising for their organizations and prepping with their outreach, communications, and then finally being able to table on campus in person for the first time in a while to accept and receive those donations for their groups.
I was going to say, talk about that part in particular, because I've been here kind of for both parts. One, when there was basically no tabling last year whatsoever, but in years prior, this place is a hotspot. It's bustling with activity, and not just here, but also all over campus. Talk about the importance of student giving You know, because I don't think people actually see how that plays into things.
Yeah, so students are actually a really big part of Giving Tuesday and giving in general. So, in the past, prior to the pandemic, about a third of undergraduate students were giving back to the university, and you can see it's happening literally right now in person in this moment. And I think it's
give.
And I think students really like knowing that at Tufts they can give to the causes and initiatives that most impact them at their time here. And being able to meet in person and having that strong sense of community and being able to give back to that community means a lot to them. We've been seeing a lot of students today giving to financial aid, the First Resource Center, and really participating and engaging in the challenges. That it's great to see the Tufts community is alumni, family, and students and Giving Tuesday.
So explain to me the challenges. Obviously, I know because I've been a part of it, but for folks out there that don't understand what the challenges are, what do we mean by challenging? Are we just challenging someone, or how do you meet these and exceed these challenges and expectations?
Yes. So a really great part about Giving Tuesday is that a lot of challenges are participation based. So students are really incentivized that sometimes it might seem a little discouraging that you have to give a very large amount. I think a lot of people are accustomed to the names on buildings and kind of the larger gifts, but the participation based challenges are the number of donors will secure additional funding to Tufts in general, as well as other causes and initiatives. So students are able to participate in that they can feel empowered with their $5, $10, $25 gift to make a greater impact through these different challenges that focus on. If you look at the website, there's a DSDI challenge, there's a financial aid challenge, a unexpected hardship fund challenge. There's more than 80 different challenges that stand across the university that can appeal to anybody's interests.
Obviously, it would be very hard for me to reach over the table and start talking to everybody. Who are the group? Who's behind us right now? You guys can feel free to wave, hang out. I know we've got my rock climbing buddy, which is awesome. So tell me about who's here behind us working the table right now.
Yeah, so right now we have the rock climbing team. They're fundraising. They're a part of the club leadership sports competition. So the groups that receive the most funding among the club sports teams at Tufts will secure an additional $500, $300, or $200 for their team. Climbing team's currently in the lead, which is very exciting. I think Taekwondo is a close second, so we'll see how they maintain their momentum throughout the course of the day. And then we also have a representative from ATO, which is a fraternity on campus, fundraising to help offset their annual budget for students in their organization. And there's lots of different groups throughout the course of the day. This is just right now. We have about a couple dozen different groups that are fundraising for their organization.
It's so funny. Fundraising can sound so stale and stodgy, but how much fun does everybody seem to be having? I mean, you obviously have plenty of energy. The whole team's excited right now. Talk to me about that. Just how much fun everybody's having doing this as well.
Yeah, I think that the students here at the tables at least are really enjoying bringing their friends together and letting them know about what they're involved with on campus and the impact that a gift of even $5 can have. For example, some people might have already heard the rock climbing team has created an accessibility fund, and I think that people are really proud to be on the rock climbing team and having this accessibility fund and letting their friends know about it to potentially join the rock climbing team or to just know that something like that is happening at Tufts. I think it's about the community.
Last two questions. One is just about the impact and importance of numbers, right? You know, not obviously numbers. We want as much money as humanly possible, obviously, but the importance of just participation. Talk about the role participation plays into this.
Yeah, so with student giving, our goal is participation based. It's not about how much money we can get students to give, but a understanding of the impact of philanthropy on campus and how people coming together, when you have lots of people making gifts of any size, it can have a great collective impact. So it's about students reflecting that they understand the importance of giving back to the university as a student and after graduation through participation. So participation, every small bit adds up. And that's really our focus.
I love it. And lastly, how can people, whether it's students or alums or family, how do you want them to get involved? Where do you want them to go?
Absolutely. So you can go to givingdays.tufts.edu. That's the Giving Tuesday website to see all of the many 80 challenges that are going on throughout the course of the day. So you can make your gift to the cause and initiative that's important to you and your time at Tufts and share on social. We have a bunch of different social media posts that are going on, a bunch of Giving Tuesday GIFs, and spread the word. Contact 5 friends or more from the Tufts community, really anybody that is connected to Tufts or just loves Tufts in general. Today is the day. Make your gift. #Tufts Giving Tuesday.
I love it. Even throws in the hashtag in there. And again, make sure you're leveraging that hashtag Tufts Giving Tuesday. We'd love to see your responses on Twitter, on Facebook, all over the place because, well, that's just what makes today so much fun. So anyways, that'll do it for Audrey. Thank you so much. As always, my friend, it's been a pleasure working with you the last couple months. Great stuff, guys. Thank you very much. So come on down if you're on campus. Obviously, come check these dudes out. Come see everybody. Say hello, and we'd obviously love your support. So that'll do it for us down here. I'm going to head on back upstairs to the studio. But while I do that, we want to take a look at another just wonderful story all about some of the things that are going on with drones right here on campus. Take a peek.
Everything engineers do is to impact humanity. And we can do that in many ways. It doesn't just have to be through our technology, but it could be through our education. And here at Tufts, we can investigate all those as engineers because our students are so well-rounded and venture into all these areas. The central ideal is that they want to give back, they want to make change, and they dedicate their entire lives to this. Everything that we do crosses so many discipline boundaries. So it's not just I'm an electrical engineer, or I'm image processing, or I'm a computer scientist. Here at Tufts, you need to be able to work across any discipline with any individual and learn areas that you might have zero ideas of. So we build teams, and we have to be able to talk to one another in languages, so we learn from each other. Some of our greatest ventures have come about because of the philanthropy of our donors and our sponsors, but it really contributes to the development of our students' education in broader aspects than one could imagine. Having someone invest and believe in a student builds their confidence, gives them the ability to take on challenges that they might otherwise think nobody found worthy or wasn't worth their time. It's not just about developing students and changing the future for those students. It's about making an impact on the world. And you're creating future leaders. And there's no other better institution on the planet to do that than Tufts University.
Awesome. It was so cool to see that actually taking place right in front of our eyes. We were on campus and go ahead and filmed everybody. And it was just really cool at the end of the day to see what some of the folks are really working on right now. And again, that's just one of thousands of stories here on campus, whether it's Medford, whether it's Somerville, wherever it may be, in the city itself. There are just so many wonderful stories that we just love to hear, and we'd love to share all of them with you. So again, welcome in. If you're just joining us for the first time, I am Tyler Pyburn. This is for Tufts Giving Tuesday. Make sure you're leveraging that hashtag. Again, thank you to Audrey downstairs for jumping on with us and sharing some of that excitement. It's just so cool to see. So one of the things we want to do is go ahead and keep the ball rolling and share some other stories. One of them happens to be Edwin Ortega of HNRCA, and he just has a fantastic story. So with that in mind, let's hear from Edwin.
My name is Edwin Ortega. I'm a first-generation Mexican-American scholar. I'm interested in the impact that chronic diseases have on immune cell function. And something that's been observed or reported by the research is that obesity and other chronic diseases increase the risk of infectious diseases. And one of the problems with that is when you develop vaccines, they're not necessarily as efficacious as they are in obese individuals or people with chronic diseases as they are with people who are healthy or of normal BMI and are generally healthy. I work at the HNRCA, the Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging, and I'm in the Nutrition Immunology Lab. So I'm hoping that my research that I'm doing here has an impact outside of just me and my community. I'm hoping that it helps everybody. Statistically, I shouldn't be here. There's more students in my high school that dropped out than made it out of high school. As a first-generation student in undergraduate, I should have also not been retained. I should have probably dropped out. There's only 3% of graduate students are Latinos, and only 3% are STEM scholars as well, which is shockingly low. So I'm very thankful. I think it's always important to remind yourselves that no one makes it alone. All this generosity or the gifts made by our generous donors, it's an impact for the rest of my life. This isn't just now, this isn't just through graduate school. This goes on to like the future. This goes on to me doing work that means something for the world. If I had the opportunity to talk or to know who the donor was that provided the gift of me coming to graduate school, I would say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. There's really no words that I can say to tell you how thankful I am.
Edwin, we feel the same way about you, sir. Thank you so much for that just candid interview. It was just fantastic. All right, so welcome back. We are, again, right now we've hit that stretch that is basically every single corner of campus, every single organization, every single student group, whatever it may be, we are talking to all of them right now. So we were just downstairs a few minutes ago, we're back up here, and right now we're talking with Matt and Ellie, and they are with the Wind Ensemble. And you're going to hear a little bit more about the Wind Ensemble in just a few seconds. But Ellie, Matt, welcome in. Thank you both so much for joining us. They brought their instruments. They aren't going to play for us, but I will say this. It's been an interesting time with the pandemic playing. How has it gone? Ellie, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone pretty well this year. We started by playing outside where it was safe for everyone to play without masks. Now that we've moved inside, it's a little colder. We have this PPE. We put like covers over the end. Like a mask for our instrument, and then we wear these masks with holes in it to play. So yeah, it's been going well.
Matt, how has that gone? Has it been? I mean, it's got to be challenging now.
It's definitely an improvement from last year where we weren't allowed to play at all. I think we're all just grateful that we have an opportunity to play, and even though it's through, masks with holes in them and covers on our instruments, it's definitely a breath of fresh air compared to last year.
I love it. Very cool. Tell me, how important is it having the Wind Ensemble here at Tufts? Matt, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think the Wind Ensemble is such an amazing community because it's enough of a commitment that we're able to form genuine friendships in a community within the Wind Ensemble, but it's not over the top in that we're able to have our own majors and our own lives outside of the Wind Ensemble and really come together 2 times a week and make some good music, have some great performances, and then it doesn't take over all the rest of our studies as well.
Ellie, how cool is that to say? That's the one thing I really love about the Wind Ensemble specifically is that you're not there necessarily for the Wind Ensemble, right? But everybody enjoys to play, loves to play, and come from all walks of life. And it allows you to kind of meet people from different parts of the school and different parts of the campus that you otherwise wouldn't have, right?
Yeah, oh, totally. I mean, I'm a music major, but there aren't many music majors in Wind Ensemble.
I didn't even realize that. That's awesome.
I'm studying art and music, doing the SMFA combined degree program. But most of our students are doing, all sorts of other things like STEM and humanities. And so it is a really cool way to meet kids who are studying other things, and music isn't their only study, but everyone's really serious about it and gets to do some cool stuff together.
So you mentioned kind of that hybrid program again. Could you explain how does that work, the part with the SMFA? Because I do think that's really interesting, and a lot of folks that aren't a part of that program don't necessarily know about. Explain that to me a little bit.
Yeah, so I always knew that I wanted to go to art school, and I then realized in high school that music was too important to me. I couldn't let it go, and other art schools don't have music programs or the access to amazing liberal arts that SMFA at Tufts does. So what I'll do is I'll go down to my studio classes twice a week, commute on the Tufts shuttle to Fenway campus, and I'll have my art studios, and then I'll maybe go down there to do some painting homework once a week as well. So I'm down there 3 days a week, and then just to do those classes, and then I'm also here, so I get to. I really feel like I'm at an art school and a liberal arts school. Right, I get to do everything. I get to watch the football games, play in band, and be at art school all at once. It's dream come true.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the way you framed that. How about you, Matt? Explain. Give me a little bit kind of your background, what you're studying here, and things like that.
Yeah, so I'm studying international relations and economics, so it's definitely.
So could it be further from one another when it comes to that?
Yeah. Totally different from the music department and a music major. And for me, having Wind Ensemble twice a week in our rehearsals is a great break in the day to sort of get another opportunity to spend some time making music other than, sitting at my desk doing work. And it really helps me just to focus more on my studies in that I really can sort of have this breath of fresh air from what I'm doing on a normal basis, and I really just love that I'm able to do that, and it doesn't take away from my 2 other majors that are completely separate from it.
My 2 other majors. You guys are all overachievers here at Tufts. I love it. It's fantastic. My last question to you, Matt, I'll start with you, it is Tufts Giving Tuesday. Obviously, that's what we're here for, right? Talk about the importance of Giving Tuesday and giving back to programs like the Wind Ensemble.
Yeah, so programs like the Wind Ensemble are definitely always in need of, repairs and music, just so that we can always change up how we're running the program and making sure that we have instruments available to everyone. For me, for example, I don't own this instrument. This is provided by Tufts. So some of these sort of more unique instruments, like the euphonium, which is what I play, are able to be provided through the university, and that's really important in order to continue the program and make sure we have the capability for everyone to play all the different instruments that make up the Wind Ensemble.
Awesome. How about you, Ellie? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think programs like the music department and the Wind Ensemble specifically are always in need of new music and instruments. I know one of my friends couldn't play this semester because she didn't have access to a baritone saxophone. And yeah, we just love to organize bonding activities, especially after a year apart. We were trying to organize some trips and stuff, but we just really didn't have the funds to make it happen, and students can't pay that much out of pocket. So it's always great to pour more love and support into these programs.
Awesome. You hear it. Love and support for these programs. For Matt, for Ellie, we want to make sure that we have the love and support. All right, we're going to go ahead, and I want to roll the video all about the Wind Ensemble. And are you sure you can't play us out? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
I tried.
Not
I tried to
today.
make the attempt. All right, that is wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and let's take a look at the behind the scenes of the Wind Ensemble. Awesome, you guys are great.
Humans are wired to perform music. So many pathways light up when you play music together. It's got so much reinforcement in our brain built in that it's a naturally human activity. I get the benefit of enjoying that and participating in it with the students. Wind Ensemble is mostly woodwinds, brass, and percussion. We've got about 52 people in the group. So we're so happy to have instruments in our hands again, blowing through them and playing music together. The participation in ensembles is not based on what your major is. A good 2/3 of my students in Wind Ensemble are not majoring in music. They're majoring in engineering, they're majoring in human development, they're majoring in arts and sciences, but they all come together and play in Wind Ensemble.
One of my friends here, he's an engineer, and I've played in instrument ensembles with him my entire life. We went to high school together. To be able to play in ensembles with him, knowing that we both have such different tracks, is so cool because we can just have one thing to connect us, even though outside of music we're doing two completely different things.
It's been very nice to be back and play with everyone. During the pandemic, we could not play. So it was definitely a bit challenging as musicians to not be able to play your instrument. But being back has been great because we've been able to learn new repertoire, and it's been very nice to play with my fellow Tufts students, and things feel, like how they used to be, which is really nice, and I think we've all enjoyed it so far.
I'm amazed at how well they play, given that for a year and a half, many of them just haven't been able to play. I think it's because they've been well trained, and finding your good sound again, knowing what it is you're looking for, is a much quicker process than developing it initially. They remember what it's like to sound good, and they're enjoying that.
I've been in band since 5th grade, so it's something that I kind of took for granted until last year. But coming back and being able to play with everyone again, it feels so natural, and it feels like campus is the way it should be again.
We do our different things outside of class, but every week, Monday and Wednesday, we're all together for 2 hours. And honestly, the past 2-3 years, ever since I've been here for a semester, Wind Ensemble has been my favorite part of the week, every week. It's definitely integral to the community here just because it allows everyone to sort of take a break and really live in the moment and enjoy the music they're playing.
Music can be a lifelong activity, and being here at Tufts and playing is one step along that path.
Awesome. Awesome. I love the wind ensemble. We got to sit in while they were playing and record that, which was just fantastic. Really cool to be a part of it and to see it all happen. I don't know how they do it with the mask on and the PPE, but they do it and they make it work and they sound wonderful. But we're going to continue kind of our conversations, and well, as we mentioned before, today is in fact all about Giving Tuesday. It's about giving back to the university and all the different organizations here. And who better to talk about that than some of the folks that are a part of student giving specifically. A little bit earlier, we heard from Audrey Leland downstairs, but we welcome in Zach and Amelia, co-directors for Tufts Student Giving. So both of you, welcome in. Thank you so much. Zach, I'll start with you. How'd you get involved? You said you're a junior. How'd you actually get involved, and how long have you been doing this for?
Totally, yeah. First off, it's so great to be here. So I honestly just happened upon the application the end of my sophomore year. I heard about Tufts Student Giving and all of the things they've done just through Instagram, word of mouth, and everything like that. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So when I saw the application and I saw the opportunity to join, and when I saw the opportunity to lead Student Giving, I knew that that's something that I wanted to do. So I applied, and it ended up being that Amelia and I were lucky enough to lead Student Giving, and it's been honestly such a great opportunity since. Been able to do such incredible things and meet such really amazing people.
Awesome. Amelia, I'd love to kind of know your background too. How'd you actually get involved?
Yeah, for sure. My background's actually pretty similar. I happened upon the application, had a conversation with Audrey about what Tufts Student Giving actually does, and I really resound with the mission. I think it's incredibly important as well. And yeah, it's been awesome this entire semester, working with Zach, working with Audrey, and then also working to spread philanthropic awareness throughout campus.
Awesome, I love that. So you mentioned, both of you have said some of the awesome things that you do, and you found out by way of Instagram, which just makes me feel so old when I hear that. So what are some of the awesome things? I'll start with you. What are some of the awesome things that Student Giving actually really helps with?
So we do a variety of things actually. The things we typically do, we table across campus for various campaigns. For example, we've tabled for the senior gift, tabling for Tufts Giving Tuesday. We also have a newsletter. This is actually a recent initiative that we've started where we incorporate just a lot of different information about campus, spreading philanthropic awareness that goes out monthly. So
awesome, I love it. And how receptive, Zach, are students to this? I mean, sometimes I remember, I'm not going to say how old I am, but when you would be approached about, giving on campus, it's, but I spend so much. How are people receptive to this?
Totally. I think that a lot of people, especially recently, because of everything that's been going on, for instance, with the pandemic, we had the increased popularity of the Unexpected Hardship Fund. I think that students are really recognizing that now more than ever is a time for them to show up for their jumbo community. So I think that people definitely are very receptive to it. Like just for instance, Amelia and I are actually starting to recruit members to join our TSG team. So we started the year off with just Amelia and I, and now we have a group of volunteers from seniors and first years. So it's really exciting. We're always looking for new volunteers. I think the reaction that people have shown to us is incredible and pretty inspiring testament to the Tufts community in itself.
How awesome is that, Zach? Is it to see kind of your fellow classmates, right, give back, right? How awesome is that to see?
Oh, it's great. I think it's also just a reminder of why I chose Tufts in the first place. Kind of showed me that those values of community, which I thought Tufts had, does. It's really nice to see that. Really nice.
Awesome. And Amelia, kind of the last question to wrap this all up as a whole. What's your pitch to your fellow classmates? What do you tell them? Why should they give?
Well, I always start by telling why I give, and I give because Tufts has had such an impact on me, my personal development as a student, as a professional, and also just as a person, and that it's incredibly important to give to any part of Tufts that you find is important to you and you find has been important to your personal development as well.
Awesome. You two are amazing. I love it. So with that, I figured why not, let's go ahead and show the URL one more time. So if you want to get involved, obviously we talked earlier about tabling. You can go ahead and if you are on campus, come by on campus. But also if you want to give, you can go ahead and do so by jumping on that URL that you see right there, go.tufts.edu/givingtuesday21. And again, there are so many different organizations that you can go ahead and give to, be a part of, and we would really absolutely love that. So with that in mind, let's hear from kind of one group in particular. Let's hear from Brian Schaffner, and all about political science here on campus.
One of the unique things about Tufts is just the number of students who are extremely eager to
immediately start doing their own work, their own research, like learning from us, but also us learning from them, from what they're working on. And so the more funding we have to help support collecting the data they need to do this research, that's giving basically students the tools to go out in the world and make a real difference. I had a bunch of students who really wanted to figure out how to make a difference. And with a team of 6 students, we conducted surveys in both Somerville and Medford that basically asked residents what they wanted policing to look like going forward. And they wanted big reforms. And now both city governments are using our survey to figure out sort of how to move forward. And so this is one way that I'm taking sort of the research skills that I'm teaching these students, and then they're applying them to like actually go out and make a change in their local community. The students at Tufts are more engaged and more earnest about wanting to change the world than students I've seen anywhere else. They come to class every day basically wanting to soak up as much as they can, not because they want to get an A on the next paper, but because they truly do want to go, use this opportunity to go out and make the world a better place.
They truly want to go out and make this world a better place. That is something that we heard not only from Brian, but so many people here on this campus. And it's just, love to see it. You really do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So we're going to continue moving on. And we've talked about almost taking a tour of campus, right? We've talked about Friedman. We've been to athletics. There is really no stone that we've left unturned so far today. But we figured, why not hear from a tour guide themselves? Now, earlier we obviously spoke with one of our tour guides in the first hour of our show, and we're kind of nearing the end of the show itself. But we wanted to hear a little bit more from Ross Krantz, who's also a Tufts tour guide, and hear about what it's like being a tour guide itself. So, Ross, thank you very much for joining us. I know this is an interesting setup, but I appreciate you coming in.
I'm so happy to be here.
It's so cool to have you too. So, with that in mind, tell me, we were talking off camera a little bit about. You don't just sign up and become a tour guide.
No.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
All right. Well, basically, the most important thing is just having a love of Tufts, having an interest of Tufts. You apply at the beginning of a semester. You then go through a few rounds of an interview process where you have to learn a lot of information and really quickly about Tufts, the ins and outs, the facts and everything. And then you're going to go through a whole semester of training too once you finally get in. So it's about a year of onboarding before you're fully a tour guide, before you're fully part of the institution.
Why is this such a coveted position? Why do people want to be a tour guide so much?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's because people love Tufts. I really feel that way. I knew I wanted to be a tour guide from my first week in orientation when I was the first year applying. I said, I want to do this. I want to represent this school. I want to be part of Tufts. I want to be a part of this community. I think it's just because I love talking about the school. I love meeting new people. I love being a part of it.
Can we take your energy, bottle it up, and sell it downstairs? Is that okay?
Let's do that. All right.
What is it about Tufts? Why you love so much after your first week? What is it that, when you tell people, I love my school, what is it about here that you love so much?
It's the feeling. It's really the feeling. It's like the intangible parts of the school that you can't write on a piece of paper, that you can't put in a statistic. It's the feel. It's the people here. It's the energy that the faculty bring, that the professors bring, that every single person that works on this campus brings. And that's what I felt on the first day. That's what I feel today. Every single day, I'm reminded why Tufts is my home. I was just thinking about today in a class that I was in. I was like, I love this. These people are so interesting. These people are so smart. This is so fun. And it's that's really what Tufts is. I feel that every single day.
I feel like we've got ourselves a new spokesperson for the university, which is just awesome. I love it. I can see why you are, in fact, a tour guide. So one of the things that I always get curious about is tours right now.
Right.
What's it been like the last 2 years being a tour guide? It's had to have been interesting, no?
Yeah, no, it's really, really interesting because we came into it and we said, I was planning on being an in-person tour guide fully, and then suddenly we're virtual. They're totally changing the game. We're doing virtual tours and everything, and it's adjusting to both. But that's actually been really great because it's made Tufts campus a lot more accessible to people who can't necessarily get here in person to have the opportunity of virtual tours.
Awesome. I love that. So for folks out there, Tufts Giving Tuesday, this is kind of my last question for you. Just the importance of it. We've heard from the student group and student giving. Why is it important to support the university and the different wonderful organizations here on campus?
Well, I think supporting the institution means instilling the values and reaffirming the values that we feel at Tufts, that we've been given by Tufts, and that we continue to give to Tufts. So it's just about being part of this community, about recognizing how important this community is and what it means to everyone that's here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ross, you are amazing, my friend. I can't say thank you enough for taking time. Jump up with us and sit down and have a conversation.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Awesome. He is Ross Krantz. He is one of the tour guides here at Tufts University. If son or daughter thinking of coming here, talk to this guy. He can go ahead and give you a tour for sure, and probably give you a wonderful one at that. So with that in mind, we want to continue our conversation, and one of the things we really wanted to do was talk about empowering youth voices, and that was one of the very first interviews we actually had when we were gearing up for Giving Tuesday, and that was with Professor Mystery just a few months ago, and she gave us just a wonderful interview, so we figured we'd give a glimpse into that.
Amplifying youth voices and empowering youth voices from very varied backgrounds. It makes for a more inclusive world. It has the power to center marginalized voices that we otherwise might not hear. As human beings, we're storytellers. We tell stories about our lives. We also hear the stories of other people whose stories are different from ours. We developed a field component in this course where we brought together the Tufts students who were in the course as well as high school students from our neighboring communities. And we had sessions together. Kerry would bring in local poets and artists to do workshops with our students, both students combined, and they created products that were both amplifying youth voice, but also reflecting the sense of empowerment and advocacy. So these partnerships with local, community-based organizations, to me, is really critical. We can't do this without the investment of people, not just financial, but psychological, in terms of passion. Because we have to bring the voices of multiple people, multiple perspectives into whatever we do if we want to make a better world.
And just a giant thank you from all of us here to Jayanthe Mystery for that wonderful interview. We sat down, and it's so funny when you do an interview, you talk for 25, 30 minutes, and only a few sound bites really make it into your final video. However, you could probably just turn each one of those into a podcast, and Jayanthe there's definitely something we could do with her for sure, because it was just fantastic and enlightening to sit down with her. So with all that in mind, we are nearing the end of our live stream show right now, but that means that the show is over. It doesn't mean that the conversation has to end or the giving doesn't stop either. That's going to continue for the rest of the day and into the evening. We would love to see that support. So one of the things I wanted to do before we kind of wrap up for the day, let's go in and let's take a look at some of the numbers. Let's see some of those challenges again and kind of go through that. So from a numbers perspective, here is what we are looking at right now. We're just under 4,000 gifts. Let's get there. Let's get to that 4,000 gift mark, and we're across 2 million. Keep that going as well. We want to make sure that those numbers continue to grow throughout the course of the day. So with that in mind, I want to also make mention again of some of those challenges that are out there. So there's 80 plus challenges, and you heard Audrey talk about it earlier if you were on the show with us a little bit earlier. And Audrey was mentioning you can give where you want to give. Your money can go wherever you want it to go. But with that in mind, you're incentivized to go to some of these different challenges because there's matching involved and will help us get some bigger numbers out there, right? And that's the goal at the end of the day. So school-based, Cumming Center, Fletcher, Medicine, Tisch, the list goes on there. Department and program focus. Hillel, the European Center, DEI, these are all different kind of programs. And affinity and cause-based, obviously we have different athletics leaderboards, which it was really great to hear some of the athletics leaderboards. They were talking about how they want to compete with one another and they want to have some fun. We have the PhD support, new entries, sustainable farming project, which is what we heard a little bit earlier from the Friedman tour. So all sorts of different affinities and cause and departments and school-based challenges that you can go ahead and give to. And of course, if you want to give, there's a couple ways you can do that. Obviously, if you're here on campus, visit the tables. Student giving is a huge part of participation here on campus, and we'd love to see those numbers. We'd love to see you come out. If anything, just say hello. Stop by a table and say hi. And of course, if you're online, if you're watching right now on the website, You know where to go if you happen to be catching this on Facebook. The URL right here. Click that, or actually you won't be able to click because it's on a video, but you can go ahead and visit that URL, go.tufts.edu/givingtuesday21. That is your opportunity to give, and we would love for you to give and give often because it means the world to us. It really does. With that in mind, we wanted to kind of wrap things up, but we want to do it in a fun way. So why not have a little fun and have a little music to play us out? So for all the folks that are working wonderfully hard in the background, for Julia Modelo, Sean Devendorf, Audrey Leland, and our entire production team working hard out back, I just happen to be the person that sat on camera that can talk a lot. Everybody else does the really hard work. So a big thank you to them, a gigantic and enormous thank you to you, and we'll see you next year on Giving Tuesday. Take care.